This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Morning decisions. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
This is London. London calling in the home, overseas and European services.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Achtung, Millwall. Broadcasting from beautiful South Bermondsey, it's the #1 Millwall podcast. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall. It's actually Sunday with Merv, not Monday at the moment, it's Sunday morning. And here is the man himself, it's Merv Payne. Welcome back to the show after the wishy-washy pre-season period, Merv. Good to have you back, mate.
Yeah, it's good to be back, yeah. And yeah, it was. I suppose there was a few worries. I mean, I admit to being a little bit concerned.
The signings and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a weird, close season because obviously we had the World Cup.
Yeah.
And watching that felt like, I mean, I've got a 19-year-old daughter, and she lives on voice notes in WhatsApp. That's how I think that's how the young people communicate these days. And I'm still quite happy texting or making a phone call, but
yeah,
what she does as well is she plays her friends' voice notes back at twice the speed, and it can be quite comical. She'll walk into the room and you'll hear her friend on the phone talking a bit like, you know, the adverts where they go back to T's and C's at the end and they do go really quick.
Or Mickey Mouse, maybe.
Yeah, it's really weird. And really, for me, the World Cup was like being forced to watch Millwall's season last season at double speed. Because there was times when you thought, oh, this is going to be good. Oh, this is rubbish. No. Oh, this is really good. Oh, we're going to do it. No, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. And I felt, I mean, we both said we needed a rest, didn't we?
After we did. End of last season.
Really,
yeah.
And I felt like I didn't get that. I didn't get that rest. It was like finally going to bed and then being woken up in the middle of the night. And then we had the signings came thick and fast, didn't they? Almost as soon as the World Cup window opened.
Yeah.
In come the signings, you know, and they were really encouraging and the expected departure of Femi Aziz didn't happen, and you start thinking, "Oh, I know this is getting good." And then comes the pre-season games at Gillingham and Bromley, which were a bit underwhelming. And then, of course, we must be the only club to have an injury crisis in pre-season, surely.
Well, we teeter on it all the time. I mean, Femi mentioned Femi.
We'll go into it in a bit more depth later.
He pulled up yesterday, didn't he? So, you know,
he
should be affected.
This is it. So yeah, I mean, and Bristol City obviously had a plan. They went out and they bought 2 of the top 3 scorers in League One.
Yeah.
In Lauren Talai and John Ballard. They got the League One champions manager.
Yeah.
Arla, and I think there's a few Millwall supporters were hoping we would do similar things. We would pick up Ballard or Talai, and even before Alex Neil came in, people were talking about Skubal. But you know, it doesn't always work because we know it doesn't always translate that the championship is that tough. But I think Bristol City beat Newcastle 4-1 in a pre-season friendly. So you sort of think, oh, you know, this could be a tricky game. But as it turned out, it was brilliant. It was a really good, solid performance. The new players look great. Lisby particularly really excites me.
Standout, isn't he? Kyril Lisby.
He looks. I mean, when he was celebrating the second goal with the fans as well, he looks so fired up. He looks like he really wants to do.
The boy is hungry for it, Merv. I mean,
he looked exactly. That's the word.
Every really interview he's done, and every time I've seen him play, he came on at QPR and the
enthusiasm. Yeah,
but very, very much yesterday. I think he's 22, Merv, something like. He's quite young comparatively. Given the experience nature of defenders up against it, but the confidence of the boy. I mean, he was taking men on. I mean, I think I mentioned in my the live thing I did. He's an old-fashioned winger, and I mean that in the very best sense of the word, because he's willing to take men on, beat them, and get the cross in. And that's what
Yeah.
wingers,
Yeah.
they're slightly faded from the game. You expected to do other stuff now as well. But he's a winger.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Proper
like everything.
winger.
It's like goalkeepers being, it's like goalkeepers expected to be centre
Distribute the
backs
ball and whatnot,
and left backs have got to be left wingers and all that.
Yeah.
It is. We're overcomplicating it, and yeah, really impressed with him. Really impressed with Metcalf, and even like I say, the sort of underwhelming response to signing Lyndon Dykes was perhaps understandable. But I said after the whole playoff defeat, and I'm not comparing him to McBurney.
No.
What we lack is a bit of a shithouse player.
Yeah.
Part of McBurney's game, obviously, he gets goals. Dykes is not going to get goals that McBurney gets for Hull, but he winds the opposition up, and he's wily. He's been in the game a long time. He knows all the little tricks, and you could see
nuances.
Doing that when he come on. He made some comment to the Bristol City player, and Lisby fell about laughing. Whatever it was, they were getting ready for a corner to come across. So I think, let's. I hope he didn't see some of the comments. It was the
Well, I think people overreact. We'll come on to the internet scene in a moment, and specifically the Bristol City scene. But I thought yesterday with Dykes, I mean, anyone that was doubting what his role at this club would be, he's not going to start in front of Josh Coburn, who is now, we mentioned Lisby, but I think this business model of signing players and reselling them on at profit, hopefully big profit. If you want to, don't look any further than Josh Coburn. The physical work he did on a very tough place, Merv. Up against seasoned defenders, and he's physically come on. He's in his post-match interview, the club put out, he said he's done a lot of work with imposing himself physically on the opposition. But you can only expect him to do that for so long. It was a very hot day yesterday.
Well, this is it, and this is what Dykes brings.
In comes Dykes.
Which means if we're 2-0 up, we haven't got to keep Coburn on for fear of losing
overstretching him. Yeah,
it's great. And what as well, the Coburn thing. I remember going to Sheffield United away early last season. We won 1-0, but Coburn was getting no change out of referees whatsoever. People were climbing on his back, pulling him down. And he was getting nothing. And yesterday, how refreshing to see two things. The ref gives a second yellow to Randall, their player.
Yeah, the turning point of the game of
it is. And I think the rules have changed slightly, haven't they? But that's something that would have been just waved away last season. I'm sure of it. And then a lot of refs probably might have even given a foul on the Bristol City defender. I don't think it was, but for his second goal, which was a brilliant headed goal and a brilliant cross from Metcalf, I think it was. A lot of refs would have disallowed that. So. This goes to show if he gets a few breaks as well. But he looks. It is early days, obviously, but he looks already a vastly improved player from the good one we had last year. And if we get 40 games out of him, then he's going to score a lot of goals.
I mean, we signed it, Josh Coburn, talking about your listeners, we must have signed him. I think it was a £5 million deal, or with whatever layers. Anyway, let's say 5 million. I mean, the way he's developing and the physical power of the boy. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see his finishing. Yesterday was pretty good. He finished close range from that ball in from the right, which the goalkeeper might have done better with. But anyway, he's put it in from close range. That's good finishing. And then the second goal was, as you say, the defender sprawled in front of him, but he still got to put it in the net, which he did with ease.
Yeah.
That's good finishing. If you carry on getting goals, your value will double and treble and quadruple.
Well, a good comparison is his old club, Middlesbrough, have just forked out 10 million quid on a young striker from Spurs, which apparently is going to rise to 20 million for various add-ons. Will Lancashire, who was on loan at Oxford last year, and people saying, we should go and get him. They've had to splash out 10 million quid, twice as much as we spent on Coburn.
Yeah.
And everyone's raving about it because he scored 2 goals yesterday and he gave them the win. But, I don't think we're any worse off with Josh Coburn. If anything, we've got someone who's got a bit more experience.
We're from Celtic. West Ham's just laid out 22 million. I know they've got the parachute. I know they've got probably more resources than we have. But that's the level that you've got to compete with. And, there's Josh Coburn yesterday scoring 2. And physically, roughing up defenders. And then, as we've said already, when they're stretched and tired on a hot day, 2-0 down, their spirits are down, in comes Lyndon Dykes to rough them up some more. So that's the signing. There was method and purpose behind it.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
terrific away performance, Merv.
it is. It doesn't seem that long ago we were sat here similarly excited about winning at Norwich for the first time in God knows how
No,
long on the first day of the season, and we were brought down to earth with a bit of a bump. But so I suppose we can't really count our chickens. But on the bright, at least we're not talking about the third kit anyway. That's the main thing. At least it's at least it stopped the debate about the red and blue third kit.
as I was going down from Paddington, there was a bloke in front of me with a red shirt on. I thought, he's got the new Millwall third kit. He's moved fast. And it turned out to be a Bayern Munich shirt. When I got closer to it, so that wasn't
Yeah.
one. But there was a young boy down at Bristol was wearing the third kit.
There?
Yeah, he must have moved really fast to get hold of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's wearing it.
I don't think I looked at the training gear as well. I don't think the training tracksuit top, which is like basically red and blue with blue sleeves, isn't. I don't think that's gonna fly off the shelves, to be honest.
No.
Because it looks like something that's modelled by Gavin Neblin or someone like that, or Vince Hilaire. Really, because I mean, I say people are saying there's a meltdown over it. I don't think there's a meltdown over it.
People just don't like it. People don't like it. But there is a big but to this, and I'm really, really hoping this is true, because if it is true, it's so ruthless, that it's so un-Millwall, that because we've signed Elkan Baggott from Indonesia, which is a vast country, listeners. You don't realise how many people live in Indonesia. That's their national colours, red and white. And he's apparently he commands about 1 million followers on social media, Elkan Baggott. And some on our group chat, listeners, there was speculation as to whether this is the most ruthless move ever made by Millwall to latch on to the 300 million potential Indonesian market. The only thing I would say to that is my experience of any country like that is that they'll knock out snide copies of it, and we won't see a penny of Elkan Baggott's shirts in with a Millwall badge on it.
It still doesn't go anywhere to explain the blue, does it? No. I think that was the confusion, and here we are talking about it again. But that was the confusion, was people said, "Oh, but we've always had red away kits." Yeah, we have. We've had red with white. We've had red with black. But I can't ever remember a time when we put any blue on it, which like I say, it's nowhere it's not on the scale of Rangers rocking up in a green away kit, or Newcastle having a red and white striped away kit. It's not on that level, when we've not gone full claret and blue. But there's just not all Millwall supporters are as anti-Palace as others, but for someone who was brought up surrounded by the buggers, there's just
you are one of those that are,
yeah. I'm afraid I am. Yeah, I was damaged.
The anti-Palace League APL.
Yeah, and the minute you see red and blue together, there's a bit of a PTSD.
It causes a nervous shudder. Yeah.
At least the meltdown now moved to Bristol, which is nice, and our friend Drew.
Yeah, the online scene, Drew BCFC, for anyone that doesn't follow Twitter, is
brilliant.
A rather strange character. He reminded us of a guy called Rob of Leeds a few years ago, who also seemed to labour under the delusion that this was Leeds United of the League One days, and now Drew have beat Bristol City, that they're latter-day Real Madrids, or, heirs to the Ajax 1974, school. And he seems to be obsessed with Millwall. Actually, this Drew, and he's
I love his description. Yeah, his description. Millwall are exactly what I expected: a not pretty, effective Route One team that are well organised. Scored 2 not pretty soft goals from our perspective. It's quite...
I think Drew should be watching ice skating where you get artistic merit points. But in football, if the ball goes in the net, it counts exactly the same as if it was the most flowing move in the world. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a fascinating modern football thing. You see a lot of quite a few fans of other clubs complaining about our style, which they, I think, almost want to believe in as a kind of a industrial kind of straight down the middle style. And to some extent, I suppose that's what we're doing with Coburn. But it counts exactly the same how you win the game, Merv. I find this modern idea that you've got to win it beautifully quite weird, don't you?
And yet, I still think we did play some good football. We
did.
No. Down to 10. But often when I saw the Bristol City guy get sent off, my heart sank a little bit, because sometimes what happens then is you get like a bit of a dead game. The team will just. I'm thinking, is this going to finish 0-0 now? Yeah. Unless we get the lead straight away, then it could peter out into a 0-0.
I couldn't think of any examples, but we've struggled against 10 men many times in our Millwall lives. you, me, and all the listeners to this show can, will remember that we don't do well against 10 men. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think it's because you have to move the ball and spread it and exploit space. But we did that really well yesterday. Once they've gone down to 10 men, which is not in our gift, Merv, that's the referee's decision.
Yeah.
And it's a really hot day, and we ground them down. We moved the ball, we kept the ball. I think Alex Neil said that we wanted to starve them of the ball in the second half, particularly once we'd gone ahead. And we did it. And that's a really professional win. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a lover of stats, but I couldn't help but notice the half-time stats. I think we were 60-40 possession-wise, which is quite unusual. We last season we struggled in that situation, and that's probably something that maybe Alex Neil looking to put right. Because I think where we come unstuck against Hull in the playoffs was they knew we were that sort of team that perhaps weren't as good in possession of the ball.
Yeah.
They allowed us that possession, and it was our downfall. And now I think Alex Neil's perhaps changed it so that we do like to be in possession of the ball, and that's probably where Lisby.
Well, the likes of Lisby and to some extent our Conte. I was playing as a wideish.
Yeah, I'm glad you've mentioned his name first. How are we settled on our Conte? Are we?
Well, I don't know any different. I have found out he didn't feature at all, but there's what people have called Danny Bath. He's actually Danny Bat, B-A-T-T-H. It's an Indian name,
right?
So it's not really, Bath.
And obviously, I'm just thinking about when talking about the Sheffield United game again last season, which my wife came to me with. Her comment was, "I've never heard the C word so much in such a short space of time in all my life." And I said, "Well, that's Millwall." And now we've got a player who's called, hopefully, Arconte.
Arconte.
If he's called Archon, could be in a bit of trouble. And he probably felt a bit of a silly Archon when he hit the post with an open goal yesterday. We'll let him off of that. But I'm concerned also about the potential, punishments from the football authorities for naughty words, which seem to be getting more and more fussy.
Yeah.
Let's agree. He's our Conte.
He's our Conte.
He's not your Conte. He's not your Conte. He's our Conte.
I think he's a work in progress, but I think there is a potentially.
Yeah, I was going to say I made a note. He's a bid of a rough diamond. He looked really keen to impress. I think he really wanted that.
He wants it to happen. He
wanted that first goal. As did Lisby. And he almost got it. He was given offside at the end.
Yeah.
And it could easily have been an even better day. We could have seen Coburn get his first hat-trick for the club. We could have seen our Conte score on his debut, Lisby score on his debut, and we could have won 5-0 and put a real, message out. But I still think, it was good. And the only dampener now is the inevitable, the elephant in the room, which is the injury crisis, isn't it?
Well, that gets longer and longer. I mean, Femi left the game in the first half. I'm hoping that was really just trying to protect our most valuable Kohinoor at Diamond asset. Try and get him off the pitch so he doesn't get damaged in any way. The deal, I hope.
Yeah.
Because I want that done, Merv. I think the longer it drags on, his head is not with it at the moment, in my opinion. Easy for me to say.
No, I agree.
And if we're going to keep him, commit, great, okay. But then all the time there's this kind of, deal on the table, or potentially a deal on the table for somebody else, even if it is Hull City, which would have to be good money to tempt me up there, but it probably will be good money. And that's what it is. I don't blame him.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very stark reminder of the DM Fleming situation.
Yeah.
In many ways, and it was all speculation, but obviously Burnley were interested. We said no. He stayed, and some people said he was sulking. He wasn't the same player. Whether that was down to injury or just because we were playing a different system, we had different players around him, or whether he was pissed off that we didn't let him go and play in the Premier League. Then he ends up going to Burnley anyway, getting promoted with them to the Premier League. But people saying, he'll be back down again if he goes to Hull. But other people have quite rightly said, if he goes to Hull, even if they get relegated, if he does well and Hull get relegated, then someone else will want him, and it's that. And again, there's talk of Fleming going to Leeds for 30 million, which means we get 3 or 4 million quid in sell-on, which is great.
Yeah,
and we've got to be ruthless about it. The one thing,
the business model,
yeah, exactly. We've got to be. And Lisby already looks like a great replacement or a great, backup.
Well, we've got a few.
I
was just looking over the 11 yesterday. I mean, mentioned Zach Sturge, another good player. Yeah, maybe less glamorous than the likes of Lisby, I think, as he will be, because he's an attacking glory boy. Josh Coburn, obviously, will be amongst the glory. But from defence, and Jensen Metcalf, I think he's another one that will develop into a cult hero down the end. So, I think the only thing dealing will be done is good.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I've seen, in fact, I'm sure, the post-match interview Alex Neil about Femi Aziz has caused a bit of a mystery or a bit of a stir, because he suggested that he subbed himself.
Well, he sat down, didn't he? He sat down complaining, I presume hamstring, or twinge or whatever.
And then he went straight down the tunnel, and there was no interaction. And Alex Neil was sort of, I'm probably reading too much into it, but Alex Neil he went sort of blah blah blah. Whereas when he was explaining the Mattis Servais hamstring injury, he went into, I know it's a different scenario. We're in pre-season, and we'll come on to these mystery hamstring injuries next because I find them a bit bizarre. But he went into absolute forensic detail about the nature of the injury, about how it was an unusual linear tear rather than across the muscle. And I don't know, some maybe the conspiracy theorists have all got their tinfoil hats on and saying, this means, the whole, he's had a fallout, he's sulking, the manager's pissed off with him, and maybe not. But it is a bit strange because we had a similar thing with Alfie Doughty last week, who basically told another player to tell Alex Neil he had a tight hamstring and he had to go off. And it's just, it is a bit weird, but, these things are going to be debated.
It'd be lovely to be a fly on the inside Calmont Road treatment room, wouldn't it, for some of these conversations? You're right, I don't know. I suppose the only thing I'd say, I mean, there was singing at Jed Wallace, one greedy bastard yesterday. Well, fine, but everyone's got they're earning a living here, and if you're Femi Aziz and let's pick a figure out there because I don't know, let's say 20 million, 25 million might be knocking around for him. You're going to get a slice of that action, Merv. You would play on your mind.
It's just
I'd ask anyone listening, whose mind wouldn't it play on? If you're going to go into a crunching tackle,
But I do hope, I hope we do learn from the Zian Fleming experience, and we do the right thing long term for the club and that, and play it right, and it really doesn't matter where he goes if he goes, because if he's going to stay, then we need the Femi Aziz from last season, don't we?
Well, we do. So it's incumbent on the club as much as anybody else to move it if there is a deal on it. Who knows? But certainly at the moment, the change in energy and pep when Lisby came in for Femi Aziz spoke volumes to me, because that boy is hungry for success, and the change was apparent. So there we are. We'll leave it there. Great start to the season. 2-0 win at Bristol City. I don't think we're topping the table. I think that honour belongs to Queen's Park Rangers after one match.
QPR had a good win at Pompey again, and I thought that would be tricky last week because they've made some good signings. So we are the two early front runners. But let's maybe reserve judgment until after.
Let's see Norwich next week. See where we go from there.
Saturday afternoon, next Saturday, because
absolutely.
Well,
Merv, great to talk to you again. Sunday with Merv this week. Normally be Monday with Merv, I imagine, but Sunday with Merv on this occasion. So great to talk to you, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Stay tuned, dear listeners. We've got the voicemails after these advertising messages.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in-minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Hello?
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here after yesterday's fantastic opening day victory over Bristol City. I thought it was a game that we looked okay. I think there was nobody played poorly, I didn't think. And if anything, we probably looked at the stronger team, even when Bristol City had 11 men. I didn't think their guy going off, the only difference it made was that they had to defend a little bit more and we dominated the game even more. But up to that point, I thought we were a stronger team. We didn't look like they were going to cause us too many problems that we didn't create for ourselves. I think there was a tendency in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes to overplay at the back and try and pass the ball around in our last third a little bit too much. But, that's how Alex Neil wants to play. So, they'll either get away with it or they won't. And I think we got one opportunity where they did have a shot and could have done better. But apart from that, I don't remember too much going wrong for us. And going forward, we did look a little bit more of a threat than we ever have. And, it was good to see two wide players who contribute rather than just all be sort of left to Femi, because as much as they were doubling up on Femi, it meant the other side was a little bit freer. And I think Conte looked all right. And obviously it was just once the player got sent off, it was just a matter of time. But back to the player getting sent off, how dull is that? It's a sort of thing that would normally happen to us, and we'd be absolutely ranting about, the stupidity of a player doing what he'd done. And I couldn't believe it was the same lad that, having just been booked for a sort of rash challenge on Femi, to then do that and hold a player back by his shirt. How stupid and idiotic of him to do that. And obviously, it didn't lose them the game, but it didn't help that they then had 10 men and we took them to the cleaners. I thought from that point on, it was just a matter of time. We were going to score a goal. We looked threatening every time. And if anything, 2-0 flattered Bristol City, because if there is one sort of slight negative about the whole thing, we should have won 4 or 5 and nobody would have moaned too much. I thought that we wasted opportunities, as the second half, definitely, as that progressed, we sort of didn't take advantage of the superiority we did have. And hopefully that's not going to be a problem for the rest of the season. But overall, looking at the team, we look very well balanced when we set out. I think the only sort of question mark was who's going to play right back, and I thought Lenny played fantastically well there yesterday. But again, the whole back four played well, and Jensen, when he had to do his stuff, was fine. The midfield, I think Metcalf's going to be a bit of a find for us because, him and Casper together look nice and bright. And I know we've lost Billy, but I thought Metcalf was like a step up from Billy, really. He does a little bit more with the ball. He's a little bit sharper in things, and you can see he can get around the place. The only, again, back to daft players. I mean, when he got booked for the handball, it was a daft thing to do, and obviously putting them on a tightrope, because I think the referee would have quite happily evened things up by booking him and sending him off, and that we don't want that, at any point in the season. So, again, it's little things like that. The wide players, again, they all played well. When Femi went off, Lisby came on, and you can see what he's got. I think he's just a little bit raw still, but he's willing to do things, and he could be the replacement already, for Femi, having done sort of 60 minutes yesterday or 50 minutes, whatever it was he was on for. He looked good. Conte looked good the other side. And our substitutes, were fantastic. They came on and did the job that they were to do. Up front, Coburn couldn't hit a barn door into the pre-season, and all of a sudden he's put 2 in yesterday and possibly, set up another one that should have been a goal. And I thought he was definitely man of the match. But at the same time, I thought he looked a little bit stronger, a little bit more mobile, and I think he's going to cause all sorts of problems, especially if we do get to play 2 up front like yesterday. And I think that really sort of sets the ball rolling for us. If we can keep him going and he's already off and running, then how good is that for us? I thought the referee yesterday, it was like a new game for him, because he couldn't wait to bring the new laws into play. And, the fact that it didn't take long for him to turn over the goal kick to a corner and then the throw-in being delayed. And he just made a mockery of things. Instead of sort of leading into it, he made a big play straight on. And the only good thing he did do, obviously, was send their lad off, because at least he stuck to the letter of the law there. If you go back to last year, I can't remember who we played against, but there was a player last year who should have got sent off and the referee bottled it. This time he didn't do. But overall, yesterday, I don't think anybody will moan about the result. You can see there's some possibility in there of us being a lot stronger squad. And I think the good thing yesterday was when he did bring the subs on, Lyndon Dykes coming on to replace Coburn actually didn't look a bad shout, did it? And I think that could come back and be really good for us as the season progresses. And if we can keep playing as we did yesterday, nice and solid, and take our chances and possibly take more chances, then everything's nice and possible. And the good thing this week, we haven't got the League Cup for Alex Neil to start tinkering with the team, and we throw that one and it just brings a negativity around the place. We go to the next week's game, we've got a positive start. We should be positive next week against Norwich with the sort of players we've got, and let's hope we get there. Anyway, that's all for me. So on to next week. Come on, you Lions.
Fantastic stuff from Jim Hackett. Good to have you back on the show, Jim. Good to be back, generally, dear listeners. I was just thinking about Jim's point there about the stronger looking substitutes bench. I think one or two people online were saying how the bench looks weak. Well, it didn't feel weak at Bristol City, I can tell you that much, dear listeners. And as Jim's just touched on there, Lyndon Dykes coming into the game when the opponents are tiring. They've been down to 10 minutes. It was very warm down there in Bristol and they've been up against it. And then you're taking off Josh Coburn, done a huge amount, magnificent amount of physical work, and you're bringing in an old salt like Lyndon Dykes to come and work over those central defenders. It must be dispiriting. And I just think we do, overall, injuries are a crisis allowing, which is another story, isn't it? But, generally speaking, we look a stronger and deeper squad this season than really we did last season. I just did a call just before I started recording this, listeners, a Norwich City podcast that will go out later this week. I'll probably repost it myself if they tag me in. But one of the questions the chap was asking me was, where did it all go wrong last season? And for me, don't know about you, but for me, goal scoring, clearly, big problem last season. But it was built on a lack of squad depth. We didn't really have much in the way of resources, players to change a game when it wasn't going our way. Whereas I do think this season, like I said, people were saying that the bench looks weak on Saturday. I didn't buy that. I thought we looked pretty strong. We had players coming off the bench. Femi left us for whatever reason in the first half. In comes Colwell Lisby, who looked, absolutely electric. Late on, after the work has been done, and Josh Coburn you don't want to overstretch him, in comes Lyndon Dykes to do the hard yards again, and we go close a few times. So, I do think we look a stronger, deeper squad. Referee was a funny bloke on Saturday. I had this mental image of him studying the new rules, the list of new rules that he'd had printed off just before he came out of the dressing room tunnel, and then applying all of those new rules inside the first 10 minutes or something. But there we are. Refereeing goes for us, sometimes goes against us. It went against Bristol City. And as Jim has said, if you were a football manager, I think players and their stupidity would do your absolute head in, wouldn't it? To be on a yellow and then immediately go and tug Josh Coburn's shirt right in front of the referee is kind of asking for it. So he got it down to 10 men, and that really was the turning point of the game. It's going to be interesting to see how Saturday's game against Norwich goes, where refereeing might go against us somewhat. We'll see how that one works out. Let's move along to our next voice note. It's Harry Warren. Welcome back, H.
Terrific win for the Lions yesterday, Nick. Having not watched a single minute of pre-season in a new kind of Millwall mental health sanitarium of trying to care less after last season's heartbreak, I thought we were really good. I liked the look of sort of Metcalf, and I liked how we looked pretty much like we hadn't had sort of any kind of playoff hangover. We started really well. We were really, really direct. Coburn looked fit and firing. A new French boy whose name I'm going to butcher all year, Acronte, looked good. I think he's an improvement on Ballo and Tommy Watson. Aziz, obviously, going off injured is a concern, but Lisby coming on, and he looks a completely different type of winger than what we've had for a while. More of a sort of beat a man winger, if you know what I mean, rather than just sort of stand the ball up and cross it. I think we've been crying out for one of those for ages. And it just looks like the recruitment's been good. If we can get everyone fit and we can be in and around it. And remember, we only have to finish 8th to get in the playoffs, and that's, realistically the goal is to finish in the top 8. We should finish in the top 8. I think there's a lot of teams that will probably think that. My feeling going into the season is that we'd have a bit of a hangover and we'd struggle, but look, we had no Kramer and no Aziz on the pitch for most of that. No, Kramer none of the game, and obviously Aziz for an hour of that game. And we won comfortably 2-0 and could have won 4, maybe 5-0. Obviously, you don't want to count your chickens. It's one game. Bristol City are a strange club. That geezer online who's obsessed with us, who calls Jake Cooper hoofball. Well, I'd rather Jake Cooper defending than any one of those fucking defenders they have at Bristol City. So, especially when Coburn bullied them. So, yeah, it might be hoofball, but Jake Cooper's a Millwall legend, and I'm not going to have slander by some cunty Bristol City fan. But yeah, we're not the finished article. We don't need to be the finished article. Do I think we'll sign more players? I think possibly we could. I think we might sign maybe another winger, in the idea that someone might go. I do think we need another right back. But where we get one from, I don't know. And we do tend to, our recruitment strategy these days is ridiculous in terms of no Millwall fan tends to know the players that we go and sign. They're not names. They are people bought to a system. And you can't knock it because it works 9 times out of 10. There's been very few that have fouled. Barry Bannon aside, cunt. So we just need to be sensible. 45 games to go. Sitting second means fuck all. Table doesn't mean anything until Christmas. Table doesn't really mean anything until the last day. But yeah, fucking absolutely buzzing for Millwall to be back. The summer goes on for far too long. And yeah, absolutely looking forward to 11 blokes deciding how my mental health will be for large periods of my week going forward for the next 9 months. Arrivederci Millwall.
Welcome back, Harry. Good to have you back, mate. I've read a book once called The Dice Man. He surrendered his free will to the roll of a dice. A bit like what you're saying Millwall does with your mental state, Harry. He rolled a dice and did whatever the dice told him. Anyway, don't go down those roads, kids. It leads you to some dark places. It's the new signing, a new model of business. I'm just thinking as you're speaking there, Harry, it's a really intriguing thing because the only failures, if you want to call them that, for Millwall in terms of transfer dealings in recent times, not going back terribly far here, but would be names that we had heard of. I mean, Tommy Watson was a failure with us, but he had a name from Sunderland, was it? He came via Brighton. He'd done well with Sunderland. Barry Bannon, who Harry succinctly sums up there, but was a name. The only players that haven't really taken off have been named players, I suppose. Otherwise, we're going for guys from places that I don't know much about. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be the kind of podcast that studies Belgian second-tier football or, the kind of lower levels of the Dutch First Division and so on. But that's where we're finding these players, French football and so on, bringing players in from Rodez and places like that. It's clearly a big step up. I think Tariq Conte will be a valuable asset. He certainly looked dangerous on Saturday at Bristol. And Colwell Lisby, we've mentioned. I think, I've said already, and I'm going to say it again just because that's the nature of the show. I think there's going to be an instant love affair with Colwell Lisby because the boy, like Tariq and others, Jensen Metcalf, Harry mentions there, these are hungry boys. These know or seem to have an understanding that the footballer's life is a brief flame flickering in a breeze, and you've got to go in there and grab it. Seize the day, carpe diem, as the Latin saying goes. You've got to seize the day, and they're hungry boys. Really good to see in a Millwall shirt. Obviously, new signings, a huge amount will turn on whether or not the Femi soap opera comes to a conclusion. I kind of hope it does. It's a bit of a gutter him going to Hull City, but it don't really bother me that much if the money is right. And I do trust the club nowadays to get the business side of things right. We see it on and off the pitch. And if he goes there for large sums of money, well, good luck to him. I've liked Femi. I've had the pleasure of meeting him. He's got an ambitious boy. He's got a young family. He's got to make the money whilst he can. So I don't begrudge him that at all. But it will mean that we get the matters dealt with sooner rather than later, and we can get new blood and new faces in, if that's indeed where it goes to. If he's going to stay, then commit. You got to commit. You got to go with it. You can't be running around with disappointment in your head. Although I bet you and me would be disappointed if we didn't get a slice of 20 million. Dear listeners, don't you? We're going to take a short break now for some advertising messages, and then we're going to come back with Hasan and then Jim Littler. Hasan and then Jim. So stay tuned, dear listeners.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in-minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall.
Hi Nick, it's Hasan here. Here we go. First game of the season, first away game, first victory. What a absolutely brilliant day all round. There's no other way of putting it. We systematically tore them to pieces. Before, sort of, and definitely after, they went down to 10 men. I thought they were there from the taking. I wasn't impressed with Bristol City whatsoever. We could have gone a goal or two in front before the sending off. Obviously, sending off changed the game, but I've never seen, from my memory, a Millwall side just be so comfortable for almost the whole game. We've been there before, playing against teams where the players sent off and we make it difficult for ourselves. But today, excuse me, we tore them apart. I don't think they knew what they hit. I don't think Bristol City knew what hit them. You know, we were outstanding. We knocked the ball around so well. We played total football at times, and we should have won the game by at least double the amount of goals. Yeah, I mean, to a man, everyone put a performance in. Negley had a few little off moments here and there, typical laid backness, but he's back to his ultra marathon self. I think he finished the game as a left back. But apart from that, I'll pick out a few names. I thought Jensen Metcalf was fantastic in the middle of the park. You'd think he's played in the Championship all his career. He looked calm. He looked strong in the tackle. He's always looking forward, and he's got an assist to his name as well. I believe he provided the cross for Coburn second. So I'm very impressed with his performance. Casper was fantastic. The whole back four was good. Goalkeeper didn't have much to do. Still clean sheet. I thought Lenny rolled back the years. I thought he was really good. Lisby coming on for Aziz. Well, we all made jokes in the stand. The check has been cashed. That's why he went off. But who knows? But Lisby was outstanding. They couldn't touch him. They could not touch him. He was too quick for them. He was very tricky, and he influenced the game a lot. A fantastic debut from the young lad. So hats off to him. I thought Coburn's probably man of the match. 2 great goals. He ran the line so well today, and there was parts of that performance. He reminds me of Steve Morrison. Those balls that go down the channel, he's running in from behind the defender, getting in front. Their centre back, Coburn had him on toast, mate. He could not touch him. You know, he absolutely destroyed him for 90 minutes, or for as long as he was on the pitch for. Fantastic performance. Conte was, I thought, good. He should have scored. It was harder to miss. I don't know how he did that. But what was ironic was they were warming up in front of us, strikers and the midfielders. Every one of their shots was hit the post. So I'm not surprised Conte hit the post, because the way he was practicing his shots, it was just to hit the post. But a great performance for his full debut in the Championship. I thought he looked really good, and I'm fairly certain the goals will come for him soon. The substitutes, Tundle, he was good. He was good. He came on, made himself busy, got involved. He played the ball around well. I thought Dykes does what Dykes does, and to be honest, I think he's going to turn out to be a very good signing. From what I saw, he don't look slow. He looks like an awkward customer. He runs the same sort of lines that Coburn does, and from the little 20-minute cameo we saw him, he's all right for me. I don't mind him. Kelly done all right when he came on, as did Sykes. But otherwise, fantastic opening day victory, well deserved, and looking forward now to being back at the Den against Norwich. I hope you enjoy the game, mate. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey Nick, Jim Littler, mate. Welcome back after the summer. Thanks for all your content during the summer. Kept us going on the drives to work. A few words about today, mate. I think we're all a bit worried maybe about how things might pan out if Aziz goes. So he starts the first game of the season, which is a bit of a shock that he's still here, but then he goes off, and let's be honest, we probably look better after he'd gone off. Don't know about his injury. Hopefully he's all right, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Overall, I think we can all be delighted with that first 3 points of the season. I thought the back four looked superb. Said to a few people at the end of last season, I'm absolutely convinced that if Taylor hadn't got injured, we'd have scraped over the line in second place. I think Taylor's injury was the biggest thing at the end of the season that stopped us going up, to be honest. So yeah, backline superb. Jensen didn't really have a lot to do. Metcalf, he's becoming a Millwall player, and straight away you can tell he's going to pick up a few cards, and some of them might not be yellow. And I'm pleased he kind of brought him off after whatever it was today, because I think the ref might have been angling to have given him a second for the slightest thing. So he can be well pleased with his league debut for us, stepping up from a lower league and looking like a Championship player already. And obviously Lisby came on, and he looks exciting. Lisby does, doesn't he? He's one of them. He gets the ball, a bit like Femi last year. He gets the ball, and everyone's thinking, "Go on then, have a go." He's going to be a great player. Just hope that he probably just times his runs a little bit better in terms of when he presses, because he's so eager that got to watch his old hamstring and that. I can't say, yeah, he did a Coburn, didn't he? But I liked his movement. You can tell he's a fit, strong lad. I think he's going to be a good player for us. Just got to probably just give him a little bit of time. Shame really he didn't put that away, because that probably would have done him the world of good. All in all, absolutely thrilled to get off the mark with 3 points today. On to Norwich at home on Saturday. They got beat today, but they're a good team, and I think it'll be a good game Saturday. Looking forward to it already. So well done to everyone who went. I hope you all got back safely, and yeah, roll on next week. Come on, you Lions.
Big thank you to Hasan and then to Jim Littler there. Two great messages. I agree with you, Hasan. An outstanding display. I can't think of a better one. Away from home against 10 men. I don't know why we've always struggled against 10. I think possibly it's because you have to move the ball into spaces and pass the ball accurately. That's never been our strongest suit at the Den, but I can't say that about Saturday's 11. We really did exploit the situation, and as Hasan put it very, very well, we systematically tore them to pieces. I've written down the very phrase because I think it's a very accurate description. I agree with Jim as well. That superb back four. Caleb Taylor, what a player. It's an interesting point you make, Jim, about the kind of going off the boil late last season coincided with Taylor leaving us for injured. It's an interesting point. I hadn't thought of that, and that's probably a very fair and valid point. And just a second, Hasan's comments on Lyndon Dykes. He's taken a monstering online. Don't really know why people react like that online. They do. But anyone who was at Ashton Gate on Saturday will have seen a bloke coming in to do the shithousing approach that many have said we lacked. I was trying to think of a player He's not got Steve Morrison's, kind of finishing, but it's a similar kind of idea. Somebody that comes in, talking, horrible to play against, make himself awkward. He's physically imposing. He's the kind of player we need. We haven't had it since Morrison. And from memory, listeners, I don't remember people talking about Lyndon Dykes' lack of goals. The late stages of Steve Morrison's footballing career at the Den weren't prolific goal scoring wise, but he was prolific in terms of influence, impact, and bringing other players in. And I would, just point people in that direction before anyone else wants to go online and beast, Lyndon Dykes. I thought he was impressive in that late cameo on Saturday. Now, dear listeners, we've got the remainder of the voice and mails. I'm going to love you and leave you at this point because we've got quite a few to pack in. I want to try and bring these shows in around the hour mark. I think I'm going to spill over into a second post 60-minute added time here, so forgive me for that, listeners, but I'm going to pack them in one after the other. It's going to be in no particular order. It's going to be Ben Anthony, John Rankin, Lawrence Binnie, Mark Willoughby, Martin Colwell, Mike George and Rob Woodford. Thank you to everyone for contributing voice notes to this show. If you want to join the voice note gang, do hit me up on X. You can message me. We've got to exchange mobile numbers so you can WhatsApp the message to me. But, give me a shout on X or email me at, you can get me at achdungmillwall@gmail.com, and I'll stick those links in the show notes. So I'm going to say Arrivederci Millwall to you right now, dear listeners, and I'm going to play the rest of the show out with the voice notes as mentioned. Huge thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Until the next edition after Norwich, from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now. Let's go now with Ben.
Hello, Nick. Hello, listeners. Ben Anthony calling in after a fantastic 2-0 win over Bristol City to start our championship campaign. I thought, even without the red card in the first half, I actually thought we were the better team. We looked pretty dominant in attack. And, yeah, I felt like we were good value for the win. Obviously, the red card has helped. It's one of those. I think when you're on a yellow, if you're stupid enough to pull a player back like that, you're giving the referee a decision to make. And, the referee made his decision. There were a couple of slightly strange decisions from the ref. I guess not strange, just it felt like the referee for a period of time was making it all about him. But it went both ways. We got the fortunate decision with the red card go our way, and you can only beat the team that's in front of you. So yeah, a comfortable 2-0 win in the end. A few players worth mentioning. I thought Zach Sturge was absolutely excellent at left back. He would not let anything get past him and was bombing down the left, trying to contribute to attacks at the same time. Camille Negley, who I lost count of how many positions he ended up playing in. Again, I thought he was excellent. I thought, obviously, Josh Coburn continuing his excellent form, championship form, running from last summer or last season over the summer into this season. Good value for his 2 goals. Arcont, if only he'd taken that chance, that would have been an excellent performance from him. But as it was, he still did pretty well. But the name for me is Lisby. I just thought coming on unexpectedly in the first half, he was everywhere, and I thought he was absolutely outstanding. So, yeah, a brilliant performance from him. Good performance all round, and, yeah, good day out. It was nice to see you yesterday, Nick. And, good to see the Lions winning in the league once again. All right, let's do this. Come on, you Lions.
Well, Nick, I imagine a lot of your dear listeners this weekend will be eulogising about that result yesterday and what a result it was. And I don't know, is that the 4th or the 5th season in a row we've actually won our very first away game of the season? Well, just a few observations from me. First of all, that if you include Lucas Jensen in the back 5, I think that was very solid yesterday. We got 2 wise old heads with Coops and Lenny, haven't we? And 2 relatively inexperienced in the Championship only their second season in Taylor and Sturgeon, and I think they're looking good to have a good season ahead. Also, I think all of the 5 new signings that made their league debut yesterday played well enough to be encouraged about that. And the main thing for me is, I know there was a sending off, but for Christ's sake, how often do we turn that round? And whenever we've got more possession than our opponents, we don't normally make the best fist of it, do we? In recent history, in fact, for most of our history, our levels of, our performances have been based more on perspiration than technique, haven't they? But I think we might have a team now with much more technical ability, and we might be able to turn that one around. A big shout out to young Lisby. I think he's going to be a player for us. I think he's all in, and I think it'd be a good replacement for Femi. I mean, we've got to be patient. It's only his first game as a championship player, but you could see there's lots of potential there. Well, Norwich up next, and come on, you Lions.
Hi, Nick. Hi, listeners. Well, what can you say about yesterday? What a fantastic day at the office, as Alex Neil said in his reaction. You can't find fault with that performance at all, and there were some really tremendous performances from our lads. Number 1, man of the match, Josh Coburn. So impressed with his hold-up play. Last season, he was getting bullied around a little bit by these well-seasoned centre-backs. But, he totally dominated. Is it Atkinson, I think? And the other one as well. They got 2 centre-backs, Bristol City, seasoned campaigners. And he made mincemeat of them, really, to be honest with you. He drew the 2 fouls from the midfielder, the CDM, who was trying to help him out. Got him sent off. He scored 2 goals. He held the ball up really well. Created an opportunity for a Conte to hit the post, which would have made it 3-0. And he created other opportunities as well. So, what a performance. Other standouts as well. Lisby, what a great league debut. I think it's his league debut, isn't it? Yeah. He's really up for it. And I think he's going to be a good replacement for Femi Aziz if he plays on the same side. I haven't worked it out yet. Also, Ryan Leonard. What a great professional he is. He never never disappoints, does he? He's such good value, Ryan Leonard. And, they were quite lively, Bristol. The early doors, they had a few good chances. I was a bit fearful in the away end of them, nicking a goal. But we grew into the game. I think we started strong, and then they come back, and then we grew into the game a bit more. Some really good possession. I mean, if you look at the possession statistics, I think it was 66% possession. And normally, you can only deal with a broad brush, really, in football. You've got to play the percentages. Normally, you got 60%, 70% possession, you win your games. I know there are teams out there which let other teams have the ball and counter, but that's not as reliable, in my view. I can only speak for myself, my own opinions, as playing possession football. And also, I'm going to say as well, I've been thinking about this a lot as a sort of 61-year-old bloke. I've grown up with football all my life. It's been my main sporting interest, throughout all my days. The standard of football is so high. I've got to tell you that now. It's an ongoing debate with blokes of our vintage, Would players like the England World Cup team, would Bobby Charlton be up there? And Bobby Moore with the players of today. And my honest opinion is, I don't think they would be, actually, because I know it's controversial, but we were brought up as a boy going to Millwall. Millwall were never on the telly, right? Very rarely. And I was served up with Match of the Day and the big match and Sports Night as my main item of watching, top league, top flight football. And of course, that was all highlights based. There was the occasional live game in the European Championship. But the Saturday and Sunday football was highlights based. And when you do find some of these old reels on YouTube of complete matches, going back to the old days, well, I'll let you be your judge, mate. the consistency, athleticism, fitness and effort, and also the skill that modern day players put into the game is way beyond, the standards of yesteryear. Now, I know that's controversial. I don't really know why I'm digressing like that, but the reason is, I've got to say, I watched a really good football match yesterday and I was well rewarded for the effort we put in. We left home about 8:30 in the morning to catch a train up to London, couple of tubes and then Paddington, bus at the other end and then in the reverse. We got in just before midnight. Totally knackered this morning, obviously, but in that heat as well. But, the reward there was brilliant. That was a good game of football. I think both teams played well. We dominated. That was a good day at the office for us. But one caveat to that is that we were on the bus going to the game, chatting to some Bristol supporters who were really nice. We had a good sort of chat with them, One of them said, "Do you know Harry the dog?" And I thought, that's the sort of question that, if you was abroad and you met an Australian, you'd say sort of, did you know Shane Warne or something, did you know Harry the dog? Blimey. But anyway, so yeah, you are. We were on the bus, and one of the Bristol City supporters there, he said, when we played you last season at the Den, there are only 3 players left of that side that are playing you today. And I think that has to be taken into account. I mean, they were a work in progress, Bristol City, and we'd kind of left off where we'd finished last season. So you got to bear that in mind. I wouldn't get too buoyed up, but let's have our moment. Mustn't rest on our laurels over that performance, because, as I say, the real test will be a Norwich City at home now. Last season, our home performance was dreadful early doors, and it didn't really get much better. We lost some games which we should have won at home. And I would say our home performance, our home, standards has really got to improve. If we're to stand a chance, the away wins have got to be the icing on the cake. We win at home, we draw away, and we might pick up the occasional win away. But to rely on our away performance to bolster up our home performance is not playing the percentages. It's not going to work long term. So a lot to take into consideration yesterday. Really, really pleased. Good atmosphere in the away end. Good day out. Nice to see yourself, Nick, at the bus stop, and I hope that poor fellow who fell off the wall is okay. The guy that collapsed. He didn't look in a good way, to be honest with you, but he was breathing, and let's hope he got the medical attention that he needed. Come on, you Lions.
Just to come in now, I know I said I was done for the edition, but I'll come in with John mentioning the poor old chap at the bus stop. I want to take my hat off to Ben Anthony earlier on in the show, who stood gave some first aid attention for this elderly chap who was sitting on the wall, apparently, old boy, and I don't know if he'd fainted or whether it was something more serious. But anyway, he'd gone down like a sack of potatoes on the floor, hit his head, blood and everything. Ambulance was called. Ben stayed with him, talking to him. I think he must have had a pre-existing medical condition. I'm speculating there, but that's my guess. And he was taken by ambulance after a bit. It took a while for them to get there. Police arrived, and then the ambulance after a bit. But I just wanted to take my hat off to Ben Anthony, and hopefully, if the old boy he gets to hear this, I don't know if he will. I kind of doubt it, but if he does, then just want to send you my best wishes, mate. Because as John has just said there, he looked in a bad way at one point. But I do understand he was taken by ambulance to the hospital. This was standing at the AG3 bus stop that takes you back to Temple Mead Station. So just to interject there, thank you to John. Now we're going to go back with Lawrence Binnie.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
By the time I hit my 50s, I'd learned a few things, like how family is precious. Work can always wait. And 99% of people over 50 already have the virus that causes shingles. Not everyone at risk will develop it, but I did. The painful, blistering rash disrupted my life for weeks. Don't learn about your shingles risk the hard way. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today. Sponsored by GSK.
Hi Nick, it's Lawrence Binnie here calling in after Bristol City 0, Millwall 2. What's that old adage? We don't play well against 10 men. We fucking played well today, didn't we? Complete dominance in a way that I don't think I've seen from a Millwall team at this level for a long, long time. But, you know, actually thinking about the 10 men point, we usually grow into games. We had a fast start, then the game kind of petered out a little bit, was a bit cagey. But there's something about the way that the way we look so comfortable in each area of the pitch. It's really clear that the system is now automatic. You know, I think every player really, really knows their role well in this team. I think Coburn is operating at the peak of his powers. The way that he leads the line when he's fit, and even working in the channels today is so impressive. And I felt that with Arconti and then Lisby a little bit later running off him, we caused them no ends of problems. I mean, not just on the counter either, but also when we had to break them down. And I think another large reason for that is Jensen Metcalf, who, you know, it's been a couple of competitive games, but he just looks like such a step up, doesn't he? And what we had before, love Billy, but I mean, Metcalf is the all-action midfielder that I think we've been crying out for a long, long time. To the point where even though Kasper didn't play badly at all, I felt he looked like an inferior player next to Metcalf. Albeit this is only on a couple of games, and I'm still more than happy with Kasper in the middle, obviously. Yeah, I was just so impressed with our attitude, with our positivity. I also think that we look so assured at the back. I mean, Taylor, he's only been playing for us regularly for less than a season. I mean, he looks as established as Cooper does. Such an imperious presence at the heart of that defence. Sturge, I think, is really starting to take it up a level now. You know, obviously his end product can be a little bit inconsistent still, but he loves to get forward. I really felt that he linked up well on the left with Lisby in that second half really, really well. I noticed that Lisby was swapping wings a lot, which is something that is new. I wonder which side he'll end up settling on, because I thought he looked equally as good on the left as he did on the right. And to do all of that with the absences we have, including Aziz coming off at around the half-hour mark, it just makes the whole performance doubly as impressive. Yeah, a really, really, really tidy display. Some injury worries, I guess, with Aziz. Looked like Sturge had a bit of cramp. But, I mean, you know, you can't really ask for much more than kind of the game being done, really, after the first goal, and then we played it at our own pace. So hopefully we're a bit fresher for Norwich next Saturday, which will be a tough game, although I did see that they surprisingly lost at home to West Brom today, so who knows. Yeah, it's still going to be a tough month. I do think we need to be realistic. We're working with quite a small squad now with the absences. I do expect there will be a couple of poor performances, but it's just about turning those losses into draws and those draws into wins where we can. But yeah, overall, yeah, 10 out of 10, no notes, brilliant performance. Roll on next Saturday. Cheers, Nick.
Hi, Nick. So, following the drama of Jensen's penalty save heroics last weekend, the mighty Lions moved west to take on Bristol City. And this was a match which basically was a series of events, all of which affected the game. The first 20 minutes or so was fairly even, although Don Ballard for the home side looks lively and was obviously out to impress, which he did for a while. However, the game changed when Bristol's Randall was dismissed with a second yellow card. His offence? Holding on to Josh Coburn as he tried to break out of defence. Surely referees aren't going to actually clamp down on these assaults on our Josh. Well, apparently they are. So Bristol, with just 10 men, effectively gave up the game as Millwall took control. Josh Coburn stepped up to the plate and planted a lovely header into the corner of the net to put Millwall ahead. Shortly afterwards, Millwall suffered a blow for the Lions as the loss of Femi Aziz, where he sat down on the pitch asking to come off with a hand rubbing his hamstring. No doubt the conspiracy theorists will see hidden meanings to all this, but until we know more, then we'll have to wait and see. Millwall took advantage of the extra space and the opposition's 10 men, completely dominating the game. Kyrell Lisby, on for Femi, put on a display and terrorised the Bristol defenders. Arconte looked lively, and Brian Leonard, the elder statesman that a few thought should have been released, stepped up and put in a great display. Josh, our walking, talking lamppost, latched onto a near post cross from Ryan and duly tucked it into the net on the near post. From then on, it was plain sailing. Well, apart from the introduction of the newly signed Jed Wallace for Bristol, he galvanised them into actually having a go at playing football, but such was Millwall's dominance that not even his contribution made much difference. So a handy 3 points for the Lions on the opening day. Onwards and upwards, the future looks bright, the future looks Millwall. Come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. Mark Willoughby. Not at the game, so don't usually call in, but obviously that's a tremendous start to the season. I was sort of watching it or, following it by just looking on the BBC site because I'm on holiday, so walking about and couldn't watch the game, but every time there was a bit of an update, it looked like we were doing very well even before the sending off, which seemed to be a pivotal moment. I imagine it was. But after that, absolutely all us, and we went for them and just went for the jugular. So that's exactly what we want to see. Be interested to hear the reports and who did what, but I'm really delighted for Josh getting a couple of goals. He worked so hard, and he's off to a brilliant start. And all the injuries and everything, it was a bit of a downer for everyone, and thinking, here we go again, and will we have a bit of a faltering start to the season? But to get 3 points away, really brilliant start. So pleased for Alex and all of the team. They deserve it. Bit worried, all the pre-season friendlies, and there was anyone but a forward was scoring the goals. So to have Josh scoring 2 is a tremendous start. So look forward to receiving the voicemails and the reports, and just wallowing in an amazing victory. So we'll come on to looking forward to the first home game, and hopefully we can kick on from there. So great stuff. Come on, you Lions.
Oh, hi, Nick. It's Martin Colwell here. Calling in about the 2-0 win at Bristol City. Weren't at the game, saw it on Sky. My thoughts were that it was an okay start. It was a bit bitty, really. We lacked a bit of coordination and cohesion I thought that we'd had in pre-season. But we got into the game and started to find their flaws. I thought we looked solid at the back, probably giving away too many corners throughout the game, which was worrying. I think we're probably confident about defending corners, but, you know, it's not the greatest tactic in the world, is it? And I thought the goalkeeper could have done better from some of those balls in terms of being a bit more loud and decisive and getting the ball, coming out to get the ball. But I thought a turning point was when Femi Aziz went off with his hamstring issue and Kevin Lisby came on, and he clearly needed to prove a point, didn't he? Or wanted to prove a point. And I thought he was quite dynamic, and that's the sort of thing you need from an attacking sense. You know, someone who's going to be dynamic and, you know, get at the other team. And yeah, I mean, that suited Jake Coburn, didn't he? Because that's his game, to get in there really as a big centre forward and get amongst them. Excuse me. Obviously, the sending off changed the game. A couple of silly fouls, but, you know, they're stupid fouls, but the referee went off. And I thought that that, again, was another turn in the game. And I thought Bristol City probably sat back a bit too much with 10 men and allowed Millwall to play a bit. And second half, we had lots of chances. We got the goal early in the second half, which gave us the, the start we needed for the second half. And really, we should have rolled them over. Could have got 5. I said previously that I thought Tariq Arcont looked a bit raw, and, you know, he's quite dynamic, and I know the wing's not his position, but he seemed to do quite well out there in terms of, you know, getting in amongst them, but lacked the quality. I know he missed that easy chance, but, you know, he doesn't really seem to have the touch required for the Championship yet, but that'll be worked on. I thought Ryan Leonard was really good. I know people talk about getting in left backs and right backs to strengthen the squad, but I thought if Ryan Leonard stays fit, then that's his position. You know, I do worry sometimes against a quick winger, but, you know, he did really well. Casper De Nora worked hard in midfield, and he's kind of now the holding player, isn't he? A bit of a Billy Mitchell type player, you know, and he's doing that role, isn't he? And I think that's okay as long as we can get someone else amongst him, alongside him, who can attack down the middle, because we need that midfield impotence to score some goals. And I don't know whether Jensen Metcalf works hard tackles, but you know, I'm not sure he's a goal scorer yet. I thought Campbell Negley still looked a bit out of it. You know, I think we've said in the pre-season that he was a bit out of it, and he still looked a bit out of it today. You know, he's undoubtedly got the ability to play in the Championship, but he really needs to put that in place, doesn't he, to enable us to use his talent in the number 10 position, although he wasn't playing there today. But yeah, a very good start to the season. I'm looking forward to the Norwich game next week. I saw they lost at home to West Brom. I don't think West Brom are a great team, so, you know, that surprised me. But maybe away matches suit Norwich better. So that's something for us to look out to, you know, because we're kind of going to have that, you know, impetus at home to get the results. But yeah, a good start. And forward we go. Come on, you Lions.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Achtung Millwall. All profits from our show benefit the fabulous Lions Food Hubs, helping families in the SE16 area. Until the next show then, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
Who do you want to watch?
This episode is brought to you by ChatGPT. Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Have you guys heard about ChatGPT work? It's the new way to use ChatGPT for bigger multi-step projects. And when you need more than just answers, give ChatGPT work access to your apps and files, and it can create real work documents like spreadsheets, slides, and structured reports. Get started at chatgpt.com by selecting work mode, available on Plus and Pro plans.